I quit Windows 11 for 12 months, switched to Linux Mint 22, and it was amazing. 1 year without Windows 11. 12 months of daily work, entertainment, and gaming on Linux Mint 22. No nostalgia trip, just what actually worked, what didn't, and why I stayed. If you're thinking about switching, here's everything I learned. Spoiler, for many people, switching isn't a downgrade, it's a simplification. But it takes a few adjustments. In this video, I'll cover install, everyday apps, hardware compatibility, performance, privacy, and the gotchas I ran into. Why I left Windows 11, and why you might too. My reasons were simple. I wanted fewer forced updates, more control over privacy settings, and a snappier experience on older hardware. Windows 11 added UI changes and background services that pushed me to evaluate alternatives. I wanted a desktop that felt familiar but lighter. Why Linux Mint 22? Quick facts. Linux Mint 22 is an LTS, long-term support release that the Mint team markets as stable and user-friendly. It's supported for several years, which makes it good for people who don't want to constantly upgrade their OS. Installing and initial setup. Installation was straightforward. Create a bootable USB, pick the Install Alongside or Erase and Install option, follow the simple prompts, and you're done. Mint's installer is conservative and safe, great for first-time Linux users. After first boot, I installed updates, enabled the Update Manager, and added a few app sources. Day-to-day, apps and replacements. The big worry for many is apps. Microsoft Office, LibreOffice, or only Office covers the basics. Web apps fill many gaps. Browsing, media, and messaging all felt natural. For games, I used Steam plus Proton. Many titles ran fine, some needed tweaks. If you rely on a very specific Windows-only application, Wine or a lightweight Windows VM can bridge the gap. Hardware, drivers, and peripherals. Mint's hardware support is solid for mainstream Intel and AMD systems. If you have very new hardware, you may need a newer kernel or drivers, but Mint's team updates kernels and audio stack as needed. For older machines, Mint can feel much snappier than Windows 11. Audio, Bluetooth, and multimedia. Mint moved to modern audio handling, PipeWire, which solved a lot of previously annoying Bluetooth and capture issues on my hardware. That made wireless audio and screen capture far more reliable. Biometrics, login, and security. If you want biometrics, newer Mint releases added native fingerprint support, making logins and pseudo prompts easier on supported devices. Always check if your laptop's reader is supported before you switch. Stability and updates. Mint is deliberately conservative about updates. That's a feature, not a bug. The Update Manager separates low-risk security patches from optional updates and gives you control. After a year, I found the system remained stable and predictable. No surprise reboots in the middle of work. The downsides I hit. It wasn't flawless. A few proprietary printers and scanners needed manual driver work. Some niche Windows apps either required Wine or a VM. And if you're deep into certain Adobe or Microsoft ecosystems, the migration effort grows. Tips for switching. Practical checklist. If you're thinking about trying Mint, 1. Test with a live USB first. 2. Backup Windows so you can revert. 3. Make a list of essential Windows-only apps and test compatibility. 4. Learn basic terminal commands for troubleshooting. And 5. Join the Mint forums and Reddit communities. They're very helpful. Final verdict. After 12 months, Mint saved me time, reduced background noise, and gave a stable, privacy-respecting daily driver. For the majority of users, especially those on older or mid-range hardware, it's a compelling alternative to Windows 11. If you're curious, give a live USB a try and see how it feels for a week. If you want, I'll make a follow-up showing the exact app list, Steam tweaks for gaming, and a step-by-step printer guide. Drop a comment with what you'd like me to deep dive into, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
Thanks for watching, and I will see you in tomorrow's video. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe for daily videos. Bye.